Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in JLaw's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage. All right, hey, what's going on there, Tannimals? It's I, Bryan Tann, your host of the Tanndemonium Sports Show. And with me, as always, the Memphis to my Grizzly, Jackson Law. JLaw, how the hell are you, man?
Represent. I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm excited for the NBA season coming up. Preseason is like less than 2 weeks away. I know it's preseason. No one really pays attention to preseason, but that means the season's just right around the corner. It's December 22nd is when it starts, I think. 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
22nd,
somewhere there.
22nd.
And then in 24 hours, Cyberpunk is here, baby.
It's about
so excited.
Well, what's funny is that I'm a little late to the game, and we talked about this a little bit last week. I'm a little late to the game when it comes to Cyberpunk, but I've been wanting it like mad as well, so I can't wait. The wife asked me, what do you want for Christmas? Something like Cyberpunk 2077. Period. I started playing Deus Ex again, just to be prepared for it.
Yeah, a lot of the reviews have talked about comparing this game to Deus Ex, and it basically everything that was good about Deus Ex, they take it and they've like, even though it's a completely separate studio, you can see that they look to Deus Ex. CD Projekt Red looked to Deus Ex as inspiration for a lot of aspects of the game. And
That's
Deus
awesome.
Ex is a beloved franchise, so people are like, "This is awesome," because it's basically a spiritual successor to Deus Ex,
Right.
from the way it plays, the environment.
And that's awesome. Well, see, what I really hope though is they not only become like a spiritual successor to Deus Ex, because we haven't gotten a new Deus Ex in a couple of years, but also I hope that they include. Well, they're probably not going to include much Shadowrun, because Shadowrun is what brought me to the Cyberpunk genre. So there's probably not going to be any magic, and I kind of get that, and that's cool. But you never know. Maybe one day, maybe the success of this, maybe we'll be able to get a console Shadowrun game, because that would be awesome. But we'll get into gaming talk in a little while. The Tanndemonium Sports Show, guys. If you don't already know, if you're new to the party, we talk a little bit of sports, we talk a little bit of gaming, but we all put it together in an hour or so of good times. And sometimes, like tonight, you'll catch me in a particularly bad mood. JLaw, you know why I'm in a bad mood.
I am. So I'm a just sit back. I'm gonna let you vent, and then we can talk it out afterwards. So just go ahead. I'll sit back and listen.
I'm going to NFL.com right now, just so I can have some additional things to bring up. So I was already pissed off the fact that the Steelers-Ravens game for Thanksgiving was pushed. It was continuously pushed until now. You've got it where the Steelers only got 5 days between games to play. Now, at first, I'm hearing the trash talk and blah, blah, blah on Twitter from Eric Ebron, especially Eric. Oh, Eric Ebron, your ass is getting towed up tonight. Ebron's talking trash. Everyone's talking trash. The Steelers go out. They practically lay a goose egg, but they still find a way to win. Cool. But I'm telling you, JLaw, I knew this was coming. Here's the thing. We've talked bad on the NFC East on this show because the NFC East is bad. However, And I'm sure that I've said this, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I did say, watch out for the Washington football team. Ron Rivera is an old school coach. He is an old school guy. He is a great coach. Now, granted, I had a lot of stuff to say about him for benching Dwayne Haskins. I even said that I wanted the Steelers to try to pick up Dwayne Haskins as an heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. I think that if Dwayne Haskins was in the right system, it would work out. We both said it together that him being just thrown to the wolves was horrible for his development. And then when he went back to Alex Smith, I just had a feeling, because here's the thing, man. Alex Smith is a warrior. Alex Smith has been a warrior
100%.
since he was in Utah. He dismantled my University of Pittsburgh Panthers in a bowl game that I thought they were going to win, dismantled them. And when his leg practically fell off, I thought his career was over. And when I found out that his career was still going on, I was happy. I'm happy in a lot of ways. I'm happy that the Washington football team is picking up. I love Chase Young. I think Chase Young is a stud. He is a bona fide stud.
Oh, he's a top 5 pass rusher in the NBA in the NFL as a rookie.
I know,
he could probably play some NBA too. He could probably tear it up in the NBA if he wanted to.
He probably could.
Freaking predator out there.
And Cam Sims. Oh my God, Cam Sims. You want to talk about beastly. You want to talk about a monster. Did you see that one-handed catch he made?
Yes.
My God. My God. So, on one hand, I applaud the Washington football team. 100%. When you're the top seed in any sport, every team you play is going to be bringing you their A+++ game. Now, a lot of people in Pittsburgh are saying that this is just your typical Mike Tomlin trap game. Maybe it is. But when you've got a young stud on both ends of the ball and a crafty quarterback who's still playing after his leg fell off and he had blood gushing down his damn leg and it didn't bother him, maybe that wasn't a trap. Maybe Washington is better than their record appears. However, with that being said, my Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm digging in your ass. I get it. You're tired. You got a lot going on. The NFL has screwed you over. But you know what? When hasn't the NFL been against you? When? You keep your head in the damn game. Injuries, yeah, they suck. Spillane goes down. Steve, what the hell is that kid? What the hell is that guy's name? Either way, the one of our corners out. Lost Joe Hayden as well. Yes, guys are getting hurt, but and without our starting running back, I get it. But you know what? It's next man up. That is how good championship teams get it done. As much as I hate the Patriots, Bill Belichick had them with the mindset, next man up, get the job done. I am not hearing excuses. I am not accepting excuses. Randy Finkner, you are the worst thing to ever happen to a Pittsburgh Steelers offense. The worst. The absolute worst. And you know what? This offense was clicking on all cylinders when we had Todd Haley. We fired him after a 13-3 season. You know what? I want Randy Finkner gone at the end of the season. I want Randy Finkner gone. Why in the hell are you throwing little screen dip and dunks to a power running back who can't break tackles? Benny Snell was drafted last year. Ooh, you're going to see Benny Snell football. I see Benny Snell football. You know what? It looks like Eric Pegram football. It looks like Deuce Staley football. Okay? It looks like garbage. You have done nothing to justify that 3rd round pick that was wasted on your carcass? Nothing. I am not a big fan of the screen pass as a primary option. I am not. If you are going to throw to your running back, they need to pass the line of scrimmage, be 2 to 5 yards past that line of scrimmage. So even if they get stuffed, you at least get some positive net yardage. Screen passes, if you're stopped, you are behind the line or right on the line. And this offensive line has shown you already that that's not work. Those little dip and dunks aren't going to work. They are not stopping the front 7 from getting a little dip dunk that's on the line of scrimmage. They are not stopping these guys. They're not stopping the front 7 on a screen. So why the hell do you keep doing it? That is the absolute that is the textbook clinical definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. That is insanity. Eric Ebron, you got all this time to twiddle those little fingers on the tweet machine. How about you focus on those goddamn fingers and catch a damn pass? How about them apples? Deontay Johnson, yeah, you ain't safe, kid. These are called hands. They're important for your position. If you can't use these, go to the other side of the ball. A cornerback is a receiver that can't catch. And if you can hit a mofo, then you should be playing safety, because a safety is a corner that tackles people. And y'all know that eyes are always on Juju. Always on Juju. Which means, guess what? You guys have to make those catches. Juju is an amazing receiver, but you know what? He needs complementary receivers around him so he can do what he does. James Washington, 2 catches for 80 yards. Thank you. Someone can catch. Oh, wait. He was targeted 4 times. Come on. Now, Deontay Johnson made 8 catches on 12 targets, but he's been dropping passes in important times. You cannot drop passes in the red zone. Yeah, Eric Ebron was targeted 11 times and made 7 catches. But again, you're dropping passes in important times. You cannot do that. Why did Chase Claypool only get targeted 4 times? Juju targeted 10 times, made 7 catches for only 28 yards. That's telling you something. What is that telling you? I'm glad you asked. That means that you other nudniks need to have your hands ready to catch the damn ball when it's delivered to you in those important spaces. Quit making costly penalties. And when it's third and when you're at 3rd down, that's especially when you need to catch the ball. When the ball hits your chest or hits your hands, you put it away. You put the damn ball away. And hey, back to you, Feekner. Oh, and Tomlin, definitely on you. Why the hell did you draft Derek Watt in the first place if you're not going to use him? Why do you get a top-of-the-line fullback if you're not going to use them? We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are the lords and masters of power rushing football. Why is Ben Roethlisberger coming off of elbow surgery, throwing the ball 50-plus times? Oh, well, the running game's not working. Maybe if you put the fullback in the backfield as an extra blocker and actually have a lead damn blocker, since it's obvious the offensive line isn't going to be able to do it alone, maybe that'll help your damn running game. I know, it's crazy thinking. It's radical. In politics, they refer to it as radical thinking. But it just might work. What in the actual hell? Benny Snell, 8 carries, 5 yards. If that's Benny Snell football, your ass needs to go to the XFL. Jalen Samuels, 1 carry, 1 yard. Practice squad, bruh. Anthony McFarland, 4 carries, 15 yards. That's at least a respectable average. How the hell are you up 14-3? You don't kick a field goal going into halftime, and then you let a team start at their 12, charge down the field like they're the Trojans of old. Why are they marching down the field like Leonidas is leading them in the 300? I don't even think Alex Smith was wearing pads and a jersey. He was topless, saying this is Sparta, and drove down the damn field. And then you give up penalties and you keep it going. You had them stopped. You give up a penalty. They punched the ball in. They played your own game. They came into our house and they beat us at our own game, and they earned it. Everyone has been saying the Steelers are pretenders. They are the worst undefeated team. Well, now 1-win team. And you know what? You proved them right the last 2 games. And I am not expecting good things against Buffalo, because Buffalo is a damn good ball club. That defense is spot on. That offense is elite. And Buffalo whooped our ass last year Sunday night. They probably gonna whoop our ass again. You know it's bad when you got every other team in the NFL that you have beaten clowning you. And the Browns. The Browns ain't won shit since before my mother was a virgin. And they shit talking. Come on, man. Mike Tomlin, get it together. Yeah, you've got one of the best winning percentages of all time. But you know what? Where's your playoff wins, bro? You ain't had no real playoff win in years. You ain't been to a super. You ain't barely sniffed the panties of a Super Bowl since we lost to the damn Packers. That's an 09. 11 damn years. Tomlin, you better get it together. Defense. You know, Keith Butler, I gave you, if this would have been a year ago, a year and a half ago, if we'd have started doing this show 2 years ago, I'd have been calling for Keith Butler's job every single week. I do not like Keith Butler. I think he is a horrible coach. I think his schemes are terrible. This week, this year, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we finally got the personnel for the schemes. We got Minka Fitzpatrick back there. Yeah, Devin Bush has been gone for most of the season, but you know what? This Spillane kid is amazing. TJ Watt, he's going to be getting that money. Cam, Stephon, thank God for Joe Hayden. Thank you, Cleveland. But no, and here's the thing. I shouldn't even blame the defense, JLaw. And do you know why I should not blame the defense? When your offense keeps going 3 and out every other damn series, you exhausted. The 85 Bears defense would have more holes in it than the freaking wall in Game of Thrones. If this offense was in front of it. This offense is atrocious. I live tweeted yesterday. You realize, JLaw, I got so mad that I finally just said, you know what? F it. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do what I need to do. I am not getting my blood pressure up any higher than I need to. Oh, my God.
Wow.
I am over this. I am over this. You know what? I'm excited for the NBA now, too. More so than I thought I could ever be. Because any team that I root for in the NBA cannot be this disappointing unless I became a Knicks fan.
No, you should hear the Houston fans talk. They're a pretty far out there fan base. A lot to digest there. I will try to react to it. I'll try to react to it as I'll try to react to it as best. Hey, all good, man. All good. This is your team, and you got feelings about it. So I'll try to go. I was writing some things down as best as I could and trying and paying attention. But first thing, of course, kudos to Washington. Everybody's kind of counted them out. They are in second place right now for the division. I think the Giants hold the tiebreaker because I believe the Giants did beat them.
Yes, they did.
If they did. I'm trying to think, because if they've split the series, then I think Washington. The Giants have beaten Washington twice. Okay, so that's
so
they
basically
obviously
Washington has to run. Washington has to run the table. They have to go.
What?
They have to go 9-7, and they have
Pretty
to hope
much.
they have to hope the Giants drop.
Giants. Yeah, exactly. So a pretty good, interesting race now. At least maybe 6-7 wins gets a division winner into the playoffs, which is better than what the division is looking for.
I seriously think Washington is going to be one of those heartbreaker teams. They're going to end. They're going to end one of those teams. They're going to be the super underdog, and they're going to crush somebody.
Yeah, and also like I said, Washington, once they get their quarterback situation figured out, they will start to trend in the right direction. I think they're a good candidate they will finish better than what they probably need to, which is a weird thing to say for their future. Because if this was the NBA, you could probably get lucky with the lottery or something like my Grizzlies did 2 years in a row, from jumping up basically 10 spots, going 1 year from like the 12th or 13th best odds to the number 4 pick to pick up my boy right here, Jaren Jackson. And then last year jumping up to the number 2 spot, which was insane. But so I could see them as being like a trade up candidate, possibly. Maybe try to aim to get Justin Fields, which because I like Dwayne Haskins, but he's not Rivera's guy, so he doesn't stand a chance there. He's gonna have to go somewhere else.
He's probably going to be. He's either going to be traded or released in the offseason.
Probably. And just again, kudos to Alex Smith. I can't give this dude enough praise, because it would have been so easy for him to just walk away. He had his money. Millions. He had his money, and he'd had 2 successful runs, didn't end with Super Bowls, but 2 successful runs with 2 separate franchises where he was the starting quarterback. And he was doing his job in Washington, and of course, nearly dies because his leg injury is that bad. Like, there was a legitimate chance that this dude could have died.
Yes. And I think that's something a lot of people don't get, how serious that injury was. Because the bottom line is, you ever wonder why when you get an EpiPen, one of the first things they tell you is always stab the outside of the leg, never the inside, and never straight into the quadricep? If you stab on the inside of the leg, you're going to rupture your artery and you're going to bleed out. You have to stab and if you stab right in directly into the quad, which is into your thigh, if I remember correctly from my training, that muscle is not going to let that needle in, and it's not going to do anything. You have to get it to the outside, because all of the major arteries are in the inside. Guys, that's why we get boners. The artery. So the fact that he had that bad of a break of his leg that it started to rupture that artery, that man could have died. His wife is picking out a casket.
And it's a completely utter tragedy, completely opposite of what we're talking about now. So just wanted to give a shout out to them.
Absolutely.
And of course a shout out to Washington as a whole, because they were underdogs and they walked in here and they beat the last undefeated team in the NFL. And it's their ass. It's no easy task to beat an NFL team, which is why when people were hounding on the Steelers, even with their win last week against the Ravens, I was still thinking it's not the best Ravens team, but
it's still a win.
It's an NFL team, and it's a win. It counts as a win. You survive and you move on. You take the mistakes or the things that you didn't fulfill in that week, and you try to better yourself. But that didn't happen with this team.
No, they
didn't. And I honestly think that a loss was probably the best thing for this team. I think that a loss helps them to get it to their chances to get a Super Bowl than if they would have ran the table and gone 16-0, because we started to see the cockiness come out of players that we hadn't seen it from before.
Yeah.
And now I know like players on the Steelers, because Tomlin is a pretty laissez-faire kind of guy when it comes to his players. Like he's their coach, but he also kind of lets them do their thing. And what I mean by that is he lets their personalities come out. This is not like a Bill Belichick system where you conform to the system, and if you act out of line, then there are consequences on and off the court, or on and off the field. Gosh, I got the NBA on my mind,
You
dude.
really do.
I've been doing a lot of NBA stuff recently, so it's just...
That's all right. I've been jumping between Marvel's Avengers and 2K21, so it's cool. I feel you.
Yeah. But you know, their cockiness, their personalities are coming out. They're 11-0. They feel untouchable, and they've got this chip on their shoulder because they feel like they continuously get screwed by the league
or disrespected
by people. And you have people from last week against, you know, even though I consider it a win is a win, it was an awful win against the Ravens. And then their loss this week to Washington. You have a lot of people being like, see. You know, they're in like Cowherd today, I think, called them the 8th best team in the league. And he said that was being generous. They're 11-1, and they've got
Colin Cowherd.
They've got good wins. They have beaten they beat the Titans. They beat a fully healthy Ravens team. Both of those games were close. They put the smackdown on the Browns, and the Browns are 8-3 right now. And while I'm not a big believer in the Browns in the eyes of most people in the league, the Browns are a legitimate team. Almost threw up when I said that because, again, I do not believe in the Browns. I think they're the Bears from a couple years ago.
The Browns are garbage. You know what? If the Browns win a playoff game, they can talk. Better yet, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
if the Browns can finish this season dominant, maybe make it to the AFC Championship, and then have a winning record next year, then they can talk.
Yeah, I will say about the Browns, I will let them start to speak up if they finish 12-4 and they win a playoff game.
No,
I'll let them talk. I'll let them speak. They can speak, but they can't hold the floor. Like they can have a comment.
You can say, exactly.
You can just say, hey.
You might be able to sit. You might be able to graduate from the little kids table to the little kids seat at the big table. Maybe.
Yeah. Like you go from kindergarten to first grade, but you're still in elementary school. You're not with the big boys yet. But anyway, to stick with the Steelers some more. For the Steelers fans, I wouldn't say to panic just yet. Like, yes, there are a lot of flaws with this team, but you are the most well-rounded team. Yes, there's injuries, but you knew that it wasn't going to be your offense that carries you. It's going to be your defense. And that line has got to block better. They've got to run better schemes. Like you said, you can't have Roethlisberger throwing 50 times a game, and and this is what confuses me. It's almost like your actions speak different than your words, than what you say or what's practical, because you're having been coming off of elbow surgery, throw 53 times late in the season when they've had little to no rest, but the schemes that you're drawing up are these short game schemes. Now I understand sometimes you have to nickel and dime your way up the field, but you are not unleashing Ben, and you are not unleashing the weapons that you have. He's averaged just over 5 yards a throw. That's not great. That's not winning football. You throw 50 times and you complete over 30 passes, you should be in the 350 range for passing.
Close to 400 some odd. You
shouldn't be just breaking 300 when doing that.
I agree.
And again, like I said, I think the cockiness has gotten to this team. I think it's really infected the receiving corps. They're the ones that are talking the most smack on Twitter, and they're the ones that were dropping passes in the red zone and in key situations in this game. The biggest hope and what I think it will do, and we'll have to see next week. Hopefully this was a wake-up call for them. Hopefully they'll look at themselves this week and realize maybe that weight is lifted off them now of trying to go undefeated, because next week it is not going to be easy. The Bills, I think, are a legitimate threat. They're going to win the AFC East, They won't get a bye probably as long as the Steelers continue on this trend and the Chiefs continue on their trend of probably not even going to lose another game. If they lose one more, still 14-2 is one hell of a record to have going into the playoffs.
Right. You're absolutely right. Well,
because
the
again,
thing is that the Chiefs, I mean, honestly, here's the way I look at it. Yeah, the Steelers are 11-1. Because of their defense, I still have them and we got to start doing a ranking list, but I still have them as number 1, Chiefs number 2 because of the defense, and I have the Bills at number 3. Now, if the Bills beat the Steelers on Sunday, it's going to be Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Steelers 3.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah.
This game just totally showed, you're right. The arrogance of this team thinking that we can do whatever we want to do and blah, blah, blah. And they finally got slapped. Washington came in with a game plan. They executed it and punched them in the mouth. So
and now we have to see how this team, because that's what I've been preaching the entire time we've been doing this show and the entire time that we've been talking about the Steelers throughout the season, which of course we're going to talk about them not just because they're your favorite team, but they are looking like title contenders,
right?
Like legitimate title contenders,
right? Exactly.
It doesn't matter if they were not one of our teams because they are legitimate title contenders right now,
right?
And they weren't seen. Coward had them at 7-9. They're freaking 11-1 right now. Where was I going with this? I do this from time to time.
It happens. I've got so many concussions. It's not even funny. I do the same thing. It's all good.
But
the following broadcast is brought to you in association by Forever Grips. Go to forevergripsgaming.com for all of your affordable gaming accessories. Need new grips for your analog sticks? They've got it. Need to swag up your controller or console, including the Xbox Series X or PS5? They've got it. Need a sweet mouse pad to complete your setup? Go to forevergripsgaming.com now. Act now and use the Vendetta Sports Media promo code VSM15 at checkout to get 15% off of your purchase. That's right, 15% off by using our promo code VSM15. Forever Grips, the best accessories for the best prices are with Forever Grips.
Damn, where was I going? Oh, well, whatever. Don't count the Steelers out. Oh, okay. I remember. We talked about all year long about they were going to get punched in the mouth eventually, and how are they going to bounce back? This is their punch in the mouth. How are they going to bounce back? Even in a loss, if they are to lose against the Bills, are they going to keep it close? Are they going to execute their game plan? Are they going to play it well? Is it going to at least look like a decent game? If they play a good game, that's fine. It's just time to see how they react and then how they react going forward. Are they going to get back into putting the beat down on teams like they beat the Browns 38-7, or are they going to keep it close? Because if the games continue to stay close, then and they get into the playoffs, even with a good record, only 1 or 2 losses, it's going to be shaky moving forward if games are this close and they're not playing playoff competition.
Or even if the games are relatively close, as long as you've got some consistency. I'm talking, you convert on third down. Sometimes, even bad teams, they make plays. It happens.
Yeah.
But as long as you're doing with some consistency, you're getting off the field at third down, you're converting on third down, you're making the catches that you need to make, you're getting a solid running game. I mean, the
running game is big. This team can't survive without a running game because of Ben's arm and his lack of what looks like a deep ball, or even their trust in Ben's deep ball right now. If he's throwing 50 passes and the vast majority of them that he's landing are less than 5 yards or just above 5 yards to give him that 5-yard average, then you've got to have a solid run game. And that's just a thing that the Steelers have been known for, is pounding it
all my life. All my life, we have been that power running team. I'm repulsed. Even when, all right, here's the thing. I like passing highlights as much as the next guy, but you know what I like even more? Wins. And I like power football. I like power running football. And I'll tell you what, Yeah, the NFL is a passing league now. I get it. But if I were a running back, if I were a head coach, if I were a GM, I want a power running team. I want a Derrick Henry style running back. And you know what? I am going to get offensive linemen that are going to be hogs. I want them to be breaking open holes. And yeah, they may not be the best pass blockers, but if you're a good running team, you can have an average pass blocker blocking line protect your quarterback. So you got to do something. It's kind of like what Tony D'Amato says in Any Given Sunday. You know what? We got to do something. We got to do something. But your man Brian Flores, got a little hot. He got a little hot this weekend. He was
love it, dude. I love a coach it's one thing when a coach says, I'm gonna go out there and fight for you guys. It's another one when your coach is literally walking out there fixing to throw hands.
And you gotta hold them back.
That are just as big and or bigger and stronger than what he is. And Brian Flores, he's no pushover. He's a big dude. He's a man.
Mm-hmm. Now
he rivals a lot of those dudes on the field.
Now let's go over what happened. Now, obviously, Miami beats the lowly Cincinnati Bengals 19-7. Tua Tagovailoa has probably one of his best games as a quarterback in the NFL, 26-39, 296, and a touchdown. And actually finished off on the ground with 3 yards. Anywho.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game overall. They got to finish in the red zone. There's too many getting into the red zone, getting stopped, and kicking a field goal. But go ahead.
So now walk us through, because I know you were watching this game pretty close. What now? It was a late hit or whatever.
Okay, so what happened was Bengals punt the ball. It's who is it that's back there? It's Jakeem Grant is the return man for the Dolphins, and I didn't see who it was, and I guess I didn't see, and I still don't know who it was that landed the hit, but Jakeem Grant is getting under the ball, and the ball is still maybe 6 feet. It's maybe about a second or maybe 2 seconds away from it landing in him, and he just gets drilled. I mean, this dude, and like I said, because it's the Bengals, you almost have to assume, and since they're down and they're losing, that this was done on purpose, because
there's some
frustration. The ghost of Montez Burfict lives on with this team.
Wow, that's a name. That's a name we haven't heard in a while.
That dude is probably the reason why Antonio Brown is so screwed up, because he gave Antonio Brown so many concussions and so many dirty hits that who knows, and we still don't know what concussions really do to people's mind. And it's after those seasons, it's after those hits is when we start to see these outbursts from Antonio Brown. So I would honestly love to see it if someone was to dig deeper into that. But yeah, so that's what happens. And Jakeem Grant, he's shook, obviously, because he is stationary, and you have a 200-something pound dude flying full force into you and smacking you.
And running, God knows how fast. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Jakeem Grant, like, he's not, like, it's not a dirty hit in the sense that, like, he hit him in the head and led with the helmet or anything.
But it was a dirty hit because of
it's dirty because he's defenseless. He's not paying attention. I don't know if he had called the fair catch. I would assume that Jakeem Grant knew who was an experienced,
or he might have been ready to. He didn't even have a chance to do it.
Yeah, he's getting set underneath it like this and gets drilled hard. And Flores seemed to think that it was a dirty hit, and he came out there, like I said, he was ready to throw hands, and I loved it. In fact, some of the players did. There were 2 Dolphins players. I forgot who the second one was, but Devontae Parker got ejected, and I know already Xavier Howard got ejected that game, and I can't remember if it was from that. I don't think it was from that fight. I think it was from some scraps that happened earlier in the game. So it was already a really scrappy fight. So I think that was just kind of the boiling over.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I know Flores, an ugly win, but I'm sure he was happy to get out with a win in that one, because I feel like he thought that his guys deserved it. They fought a really tough and hard game against an opponent, like I said, that has a reputation of playing dirty and of, doing these small, like, Marcus Morris type of plays, where
you are just going back
like
to the NBA.
Yeah, well, no, because it was I always forget which Morris brother it is. I'm pretty sure it's Marcus. That's what.
Yeah, it's Marcus. Markeith is the more chill brother.
Yeah, Marcus.
I'm actually watching some of the highlights now. This was a physical game.
Yeah, Marcus was the one that like Luka had the hurt ankle, and he's like going out of his way and stomping on Luka's ankle. Like that's the type of stuff that the Bengals do. It's like some real Ndamukong Suh type shit that they're pulling. And
that's another name. Holy crap! Wow.
See, I got some knowledge up here.
Yeah,
it's not all NBA and Star Wars. I got some other stuff up there.
I hear you. Hey, I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's good. Yeah, I'll tell you the truth though, man. I like seeing that though, because the thing is, it's dirty. It's just dirty in the sense that the guy wasn't looking. But this is the thing, man. This is football. This is a violent game. There's gonna be hits coming. And and honestly, you're taught when you're playing football, man, you play to the whistle. You play through to the whistle. They didn't show the fight. Maybe I'll check out NFL primetime.
Yeah, but, it got scrappy there after that happened.
But the thing is, you play to the whistle, and if they don't throw a fair catch, the ball is coming. Lay in. Now, did they call a penalty on the actual hit, or was it the brouhaha after?
No, they called a penalty on the hit because
unnecessary roughness.
I think it was unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe, or it's whatever. It's interference with the return man because you can't touch the return man.
You can't touch him until the ball gets there. That's
right. And that's
so that was an old school football play.
Yeah, so that's why it was seen as like a dirty hit because Jakeem Grant hadn't even caught the ball or touched the ball yet. Like I said, I don't know if I don't remember if he called a fair catch. I honestly can't remember that.
All right, I would retract my previous statement. If it's in the rules, it's in the rules. You can't touch the guy until the ball gets there. Makes sense.
Like the ball was like 2 seconds from landing in Jakeem Grant. Now, when he touches the ball, if he gets smacked that hard, then that's on him for not calling a fair catch. If he didn't get called a fair catch and he gets smacked, like that's on him. He should know better. He's an experienced return man. You're right. You're absolutely right. I just think that at the end of the day, I mean, it's a football play from 20 years ago. So it was an old NFL play, but at the same token, you're right. I love to see a coach fighting for his guys. I like to see it because honestly, that's how you win the loyalty of a locker room. That's how, like next year when you have a rookie come in and he don't like how the coach is doing things and he's trash talking the coach to the other players and the veteran gets in his face to say, "Hey kid, you better watch it." He will fight for you. You just have to fight for him on the field. Like literally, this dude will
throw
as long as you are fighting for him. When push comes to shove, he will literally do the pushing and shoving with you.
Right.
And I love that because this team has already bought into Flores. You can tell that this team loves Flores as their coach.
That defense is amazing.
Xavier Howard has 8 interceptions. He leads the NFL in interceptions right now.
Oh, that one pick he had was amazing. I'm watching it again right now. That pick was outstanding. Yeah. Xavier Howard is a beast. And you know the reason why he didn't get a lot of credit and appreciation is because how bad this team was for so long. This team is going to be battling with the Bills for the next few years.
I'm here for it. I love it.
Oh, same here.
We're not there. Like the Dolphins aren't there yet because, like I said, hopefully they will next year. And like a lot of people are saying they need to go defense in this draft. I kind of feel like they should go offense more. Like the defense isn't great, but the defense is. You can pick up one or two. You can pick up one or two free agents. You can pick up one or two free agents to shore up that defense. You need a stud running back. I would rather, depending on where the pick lands, like if there's a stud linebacker or corner and he's going to be great. Obviously, I'm not going to say pass on the guy. If the talent if it's a great value pick right there and there's not good value in like a receiver that you can justify at that pick, or offensive lineman that you can't justify with that pick, and there's no real good trade to trade down, yeah, absolutely. Take the linebacker, take the corner, whatever, and just make that defense even better. But I want to see them shore up that offensive line. A couple more weapons, at least one more solid weapon, because I think Parker and Jakeem Grant are really good receivers, and they've taken huge steps forward.
And Gesicki is a great tight end.
He's so underused, it is ridiculous, because his one-handed snag that he had in the red zone, it wasn't a touchdown, but oh my gosh, I mean, it wasn't like Odell full of like style where it's like this, but I mean, think of like Air Jordan flying through the air, sticking the hand out and just cupping the ball and then taking the hit.
His name should be mentioned. His name should be mentioned along with Travis Kelce. I think if he could get utilized more, because the guy's a stud. He's a great player. And you know, maybe Myles Gaskin is their answer at running back. I don't know, but I mean, 21 carries for 90 yards. Hey, and you know what?
Just a better offensive line, and I think
that would be the way to go.
Offensive line and one more like speedy slot guy, I think would be the best way to go. And then because the defense is playing so hard right now, and they've spent a lot of big money on the defensive side. So yeah, go out in free agency, or maybe get like some hole plugger guys in this draft.
Yeah, get a third rounder. Get a third rounder. That's not so much a star, but he's serviceable.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Flores could make me go out there and look like a hell of a football player. The way that defense and that team is coached is ridiculous.
I agree. And you know what? Let's because I do still want to talk a little bit of gaming, but I don't want to go over. So real quick, it's obvious the Jets are tanking. It's obvious. And we saw Greg Williams got the axe. I don't know,
running
man.
A zero blitz, all out blitz, and letting literally leaving. I felt bad for the corner. Literally got left on an island. There was nothing for him to do.
Not Revis's either. I'll tell you the truth, man. You know that you got to do something when you do something like that. When you're just like, when you make Derek Carr look like Brett Favre, you know someone's going to get fired over that. But here's the thing, though. I wouldn't mind seeing Greg. I wouldn't mind seeing the Steelers toss out, their coordinators. And I would say promote Matt Canada from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. He did an amazing job at Pitt. I think he could do a good job here with the Steelers. And then you know what? Because Greg Williams is the same guy who had that Saints defense killing people. Bring him in. Let's get some toughness back in the Steel City. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I still hate it for Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is still a good quarterback.
I agree. You know what? I think after they get Trevor,
it's hard to win when your entire organization has decided they want to draft your replacement.
I seriously say cut him. Steelers pick him up, and now either Darnold or Dwayne Haskins is Ben's heir apparent.
I would love to see. I think it would be cool to see Darnold go sit a year behind Ben. But I think he's good enough to play now too. So I think him and Wentz, I would love for the two of them to hit the market and either one of them land, one of them in Chicago, one of them in Indianapolis, because I think that gives them the best opportunity to shine. And because finally, if Andrew Luck could have just waited another year or two, finally has an offensive line. And I hate that.
I think Andrew Luck's body, I think that if he would have taken one or two more good hits, he'd have been done for good. He had his money, and he wanted to preserve what little.
It's 100% on the organization. You want to talk about an organization, like everyone's talking about, the smart people are talking about, it's not necessarily Wentz's fault. It's just that the Eagles have failed Wentz. The Colts failed Andrew Luck. He was one of the best college talents and was fulfilling it, was looking legit.
Generation. Yeah.
And robbed us who just love football, don't even root for the Colts, just love football, love good competition, and like you want your Steelers to beat the best, so there's no doubt about it. Luck is what was one of the best, even on the terrible teams. He's a transcendent talent that took those terrible teams and was getting playoff wins and taking them to the playoffs every single year. Oh, it breaks my heart. It's one of those stories
no lies in your statement.
It's one of those stories that I will forever tell my children and cry about as one of the greatest tragedies of.
Well, you know how I said. You know, I said a little bit ago that, get yourself a hog offensive line for your running game and you can protect your quarterback that way. You know what? I'd probably take a couple of years. If I were a GM, I would seriously get the top, like if they were worth their salt, I would probably get like the top offensive lineman in each year that I've been, like each year I try to get the top offensive lineman in free agency and draft some of the top offensive linemen. So even if I get a serviceable journeyman quarterback, keep him upright, keep your line of scrimmage on the pass and on the run, dude, you get the freaking Ravens. The Ravens of the early 2000s proved with Trent Dilfer that if you have a good offensive line and a solid defense, you can get places with a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah. You don't need a transcendent talent. You just need a game manager. If you've got a top 2 defense, which is pretty much what Peyton Manning was his last year that he won a Super Bowl. He was a game manager. He wasn't a game changer like he used to be.
His arm was a noodle. His arm was a straight noodle.
Yeah, it was a great defense, a great offensive line, and a solid game plan around him.
Mm-hmm.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags. Or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the UK, go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers.
But, all right, so real quick, we're both pumped for a Cyberpunk 2077. You've got your computer ready to go. It's pre-bought on Steam. So you're all set.
It is preloaded on my computer.
Nice. Me, I'm waiting on if I'm going to get it now or if it's going to be closer to Christmas. I'm getting mine on console, but I'm excited for it. I've been seeing some of the reviews, and what really irks me about it is everyone's like, oh, well, it's buggy. It's buggy. Here's an idea, asshole. Wait for the day 1 patch. And honestly, as big as that world's going to be, quit bitching about the patch size, because obviously there's going to be a lot to plug in there. Me, I'm almost contemplating getting a second external hard drive for my Xbox. That'll be just for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and I guess, these professional game reviewers, they, for one, they're kind of like movie reviewers in a lot of sense, like the big ones where it's like they try to delve too deep into some stuff where it's like you don't necessarily need to go there about that. I know that was really vague, so
that works. I know you're talking about some of the cats from IGN. I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Specifically IGN. I do not like IGN.
I don't like game review. There's a lot of game reviewers I don't like because they just sit there and they think that their word is gospel, and it's like, look, man, video games are subjective. I like a good story. Yes, I like controls and whatnot, but I also love a good story. If your story sucks, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and they also got to remember that, Cyberpunk has been delayed to try to fix a lot of these bugs, but the games that these guys have, this game went gold a month ago. So if they're getting the physical review copies, these are copies that are over a month old. And the whole reason why they delayed it was because we got a lot of bugs that we want to fix before the release. And they've already released like 1 or 2 patches that have fixed a lot of stuff that I've heard people from like one day talking about the game and then talking about the patch that came out the next day. They're still in embargo, so they're really iffy, and they're very vague on what's being, like stuff that's being, that's in the game. But one guy, he was like, I came across, a bunch of people that spawned in and they were T-posing and flying everywhere. And then he's like, I reloaded the save right before that, got to that same point the next day. It was fixed. It was fine.
Right. Wait for the patches. And this day 1 patch is going to I guarantee you that this day 1 patch is going to fix most all of that. The thing is,
exactly.
and what makes me mad about so many people, especially in the Twitterverse, everyone thinks they're an expert. Look, man, just because you play a game or you play games doesn't make you an expert. And here's an idea: quit fussing so much. Enjoy it. I have never seen so many like people that claim to love something so much, but they're so damn miserable. I love sports. I love sports. I love the game of football. I love the game of basketball. Do I dislike some of the things that go on in these organizations? Absolutely. Do I dislike the corporation side of it? Absolutely. But you know what? Yeah, I mean, critiquing sports and critiquing things is completely different than critiquing a video game. Look, you can dislike a publisher, you can dislike a studio, but you can love a game. Do I love EA? Absolutely not. EA pisses me off. But you know what? When the Madden game is for free in the EA vault, I play it religiously. Why? Because I enjoy the experience. Do I love EA? I already said no, but you know what? When I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, I loved it to death. It was a great story. Am I pissed that they haven't done more with it? Absolutely. But that is not indicative of the game. I love Marvel's Avengers. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it's so repetitive. Guess what? Most fighting games are. Most games that are beat 'em ups are repetitive. The story is great. The graphics are beautiful, and I'm still having fun. And when I'm not having fun, then I'll move on to something else. It's not a big deal. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and it's I've noticed it a lot with the recent Assassin's Creed reviews, and some of the stuff that like IGN, for instance, because I did completely read their review, and they're talking about like the lack of some things to do, or like the shortened. So IGN's biggest gripe with it is like, and the thing that people were taking away from it, it's like it's much shorter than what you think it is, and the reason why is because, and CD Projekt Red has even like announced this, is that they tried to cut out a lot of the fluff that was in The Witcher 3, and in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm still playing through, they tried to cut down on a lot of fluff that was in the previous iteration in Odyssey, and it's weird because people are complaining about the fluff and they're like, okay, we'll cut back on the fluff. And now people are like, wait, the game is too short. Why is it, and IGN is saying that it's taking only 20 hours. And some people are saying it's taking less than 20 hours, to do it, like to play the main story. And people are freaking out. And it's like, first off, timeout. That's the main story. This is a game that has multiple stories, multiple ways to end the game, and it's meant for you to go back and replay it because it's got high replay value. Each playthrough is going to be different. So even if you spend, like if it takes you 65 hours to beat the game one time, there's still 2 other options to start your story, and there's multiple other options to get your ending. And if it takes you another 60, 65 hours to do it, then you've got a 120-hour game. You do it a third time to completely beat it, then you're pushing 200 hours on a game. That's a lot of time.
Right.
If I'm a game developer and people are getting 200 hours out of my game, I'm like, job well done. Good job, everybody.
Why do you think Bethesda's so happy? Why do you think Bethesda's so happy? People get a lot of time in on Skyrim and on Oblivion. And Oblivion still has so much value. So
yeah, I replayed it through the summer. I put 80 hours into that sucker.
People just need to. I think the problem is, and this is something that I run into, and I'm actually going to direct this toward as well, because I said that I was going to say something to NFL fans as well. I mean, folks on Twitter, look, not everybody, but there's a loud portion, and it's like some of these cats are they're so happy to be miserable. They're just there to take away the good time. And they just want to fuss and complain to fuss and complain. So they feel like they're saying something. And negativity gets way more attention than positivity. You know what? If you hate it so much, then stop playing. Stop playing the video games. Stop watching the sports. Just be done, man. Because all you're doing is making things suck for everyone else. You're being the killjoy. And if that's what gets you off, then you know what? Maybe you should go buy a new pair of socks at Burlington. Maybe that will help. But damn. So, all right, guys, that's going to be about it. We're a little bit over the hour. Last week, we got to an hour and a half, so we're making this a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, please make sure you've heard our partnership, our sponsors. Please, XP Coffee, get some, let them know that you came from us. And I mean, come on now. We're all gamers here. We love what we do. We love what we've got. Let's show some love for our gaming accessories. Come on, guys. And hey, also, finally, we're on Patreon. Your favorite renegades are on Patreon now. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. And hey, help us out. We got 4 brilliant tiers to choose from. Or is it 5? No, it was 4.
4, yeah.
We've got 4 tiers. We're not trying to break your bank. Give every little bit helps. And we've got some amazing prizes, amazing gifts just to say thank you. So with that being said, guys, I'm Bryan Tann. He's JLaw. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Vendetta Sports Media. We'll see you next week.